Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to the course on the entrepreneurial mindset. We'll be talking about a very interesting story, I would say, and we'll be talking about a very interesting book written about Chinioti entrepreneurs. Chinioti is a small town which came into being like 700 years ago, and it is a small place. It is pretty famous, but it is the biggest fame is that it is the biggest fame is entrepreneurship. So this city is not only a city; it's a university. It's an entrepreneurial ecosystem. It created like 30 billionaires from one small town, and so this book, Kamyab Log in Urdu, Successful People, is written by Dr. Amjad Saqib, who is the chairman and founder of Akhwat Foundation. So he has been researching. He belongs to that. He has been serving in that city, and that's why he developed a passion to understand and discover what is the key success factors. And in addition to that, in addition to interviewing, he got in-depth interviews, collected data, and came up with his conclusions. I have contributed a small chapter on the you see request of Dr. Amjad Saqib, and as I belong to the city as well, partly, so that brings a lot of interest in me. So this city we'll be talking about in the short presentation, that how it made history and how it did it promote entrepreneurship, the role of the mothers and the elder people, how they created that place, and then Chinioti as a school of business, the city as a school of business. And the story begins in 1989. That is the colonial time period. The British government is there. So Chinioti is on the bank of River Chenab. Chenab is the river, the Punjab, the 5 rivers. We have Ravi here, that is Lahore. This is Faisalabad, this is the third biggest city, and then Chinioti. So you see, this is the route Chinioti, and this is like 40 kilometers from Faisalabad to Chinioti. And that small town has a history of like 700 years, became very prominent since 1889, 1890, and the people which from this place, they emerged and they spread all over. So we'll go into details of how did the story start. Here is Faisalabad, and so this is a place called Chak Jumra. So the railway track from Faisalabad to Lahore used to pass through this city, and then this was a connection and network with Lahore, and then onwards to Delhi, and from Delhi they would connect to Bombay and Calcutta, Madras, Chennai, and Dhaka. So that was so on this network. The people of Chinioti, they still had some sort of businesses, and some of them were promising. So some people from the upper side and in the surroundings, whenever they had to travel by train, they had to go to train by horses or by camel carts or horse carts. So they used to go to this place. So some young people of Chinioti who used to transport them, they used to listen to the stories of Bombay, Calcutta, Madras, Chennai, and those stories inspired them. So those inspirations led them to think and make an intention that they need to go out and explore the world and find. So that exploration, that zeal and zest and intention to explore led some of them to travel, and then they traveled all over. So you see the people from Chinioti, they spread all over Pakistan, India, as far as Nepal. They made friendship with the king, and they were great, hardworking, committed people, innovative, industrious, Bombay, Madras, and in Dhaka, Chittagong. So that is the original reach. They went beyond Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, China, and beyond to Europe, and then there was no limit. So we will see how it happened, and before, let's look at some of those large groups which emerged, which are on the horizon of the Pakistani entrepreneurial landscapes: of Fire, Elahi, Mayfairs, the Munus, the Fatma Group, that is the fertilizers, Crescent, Tata, Nishat. So these are a long list of Adaz Hospital and social service. It's a long list of, it's glowing stars on the horizon which have contributed. So the book talks about 4 things. It's also I think they were preparing it for English as well. It is part one, the history of the city. It's 700 years old. I'm not talking about in detail. That it produced at least 30 billion years at the time when the book was written 3 years ago, and they found 24 major traits. And we'll talk about the conclusion. That's this is the list of those people who are billionaires who came out of that and who made a large contribution towards Pakistan and the landscape. It's a very interesting thing for academicians and students to understand and learn. What are those qualities which could take place? So this is a person, Ismail, who couldn't get a job and he was crying and weeping, lack of money, and then he started small and eventually he became the founder of the Colony Group, which emerged in Lahore and Faisalabad, textile conglomerate. Small things, selling small, and eventually, once again, manifestation of entrepreneurship and effectuation. Nishat Group, the richest person of Pakistan, Sapphire Group, in textile, and they were the ones who helped a lot of universities and academia. They helped IBA. So the IBA library is a donation of the Sapphire Group. We say Mayfair worked on a small shop in Calcutta, and then eventually emerges. They were keen learners, actually, hard workers, learners, and they learned. And that was they considered their job in university. Dost Muhammad, who is started from scratch. So if you look at some of the qualities, that is the significant ones. The six of them have emerged: self-belief and believe in divine support, in the support of God Almighty, and we call Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So they were extraordinary in this. They were amazing in migration. They were very lean and they had nothing to lose. They kept on migrating, traveling, learning, understanding new markets, new opportunities, hard work, honesty and integrity, frugality. They were very parsimonious. They believed in returning. They returned a lot. Academia, education, hospitals, and various development works. In terms of hard work, Abdullah says that Mia Abdullah, who was one of the greatest entrepreneurs, he said he used to collect hides. He used to apply salt, and his fingers used to get damaged and he used to get injured. And they could sleep on the rooftops of the trucks. They couldn't find a place. They used to work as a laborer, collect stones, and drove taxis. He had to work 16 hours. Some of them, Miyaman Shah Samani, said they had to work so hard they even forgot the name of the kids. And the hard work and commitment and passion, living far away from their families, honesty. And so some of their business cargo was coming and got damaged. They could have charged more. They could have told a lie, or they could have charged more, but they said no. And if somebody the supplies are not good, they used to give back the advance money taken. And they said you can't benefit by damaging somebody. The customer will only come back to you when you return when you add value to him. And one of their basic principles was least amount of profit, raise their profits. So there's an anecdotal story about this community that there was two people. One is the Chinioti, and he was given a can of cooking oil, and we call it desi ghee, cooking made of buffalo milk. So he was said, "Hey gentlemen, you are given 5 rupees per kilogram. Go and sell it. 5 rupees per kilogram. Go and sell it." So the gentleman went away and he came back after a few hours and he said, "Sorry, I couldn't sell." He said, "Why?" He said, "I got it 5 rupees from you. I was selling 8 and 7, but nobody came to me and I'm disappointed. This is not going to be good business." When the same thing was given to a Chinioti, he took away these cans and went there, and after a few hours or minutes he came back and he had sold all. He said, "Hey, how did you make it? How did you sell it?" He said, "I got it 5 rupees per kilogram per you, and I sold it for 5 rupees per kilogram to you. So I did it." So he said, "How? So what did you make?" So when I asked students, they say, "Sir, after a lot of things, sir, he made customers." What else? He got empty cans. So in those days, oil was sold, you had to take it out. Nobody used to purchase bigger ones. So he brought empty cans, and the empty cans had a value. He sold that, and he could get 2-3 days of food out of this. So this is a glaring example that razor thin margins to serve customers, to give them value, and then the customer will never forget you. And they see parsimony. They should avoid spending in unnecessary things, cheap cars, less costly houses, and simple houses. And they should spend their gold in businesses. The women would avoid interest, and simple and lean life. They were great in philanthropy. They were great in spending. They used to say that whatever you give will return back. God returns. And they did service in hospitals and trusts and education and academia. And the gentleman used to sell cattle. This is what we see in entrepreneurs. Started with cattle and then eventually grew up, and they built tanneries. So the business started with small things. Adi Shamsuddin left his house empty-handed, and then he emerges as the owner of Crescent Group in textile. And these are the people who got friends and networks with the royal family of Nepal, offering them jobs, opportunities. This gentleman, S.M. Munir, has been president of the Chamber of Commerce, Karachi, multiple times. So 5 people from Chinioti, a small town, come to Karachi and become the president of the chamber. This gentleman, this Mahbub Alai, a small trader, he decides that I'm not going to take interest, and I'm going to fulfill my zakat obligation. Zakat is religious spending, 2.5% of your earnings. And then you see, when we saw that the flow of revenue coming to him, and he spends like ₹500 million in making a unique hospital, Hijaz Hospital, serving communities. And this is Kaysar, who became a politician and a businessman. And this is a place from Islamia High School, Chinioti. I have been studying here as well. 5 students from this place became the chamber president and real estate person. This person who lost everything in the fall of Dhaka comes back, and he becomes the largest taxpayer of Pakistan. And these are gentlemen who used to go on camel to Calcutta. And they reached on camel, but they couldn't afford the train, and he emerges into construction. Elahi group of companies contributed in the War of Independence, and he emerges to be the richest person in Dhaka. And after the fall of Dhaka, he comes back, and again, Fatima Group, an amazing group, starts from Faisalabad, Layalpur, from the trading food items, and becomes the leading manufacturer in fertilizers. This is typical hospital developed by a trust. So if you look at the business model and you look at some of the qualities which you find them: self-confidence, belief in God, amazing, migration, hard work, honesty, parsimony, philanthropy. And if you go further, self-confidence, they used to travel on rail train rather than airplane. They said we can save the hotel cost. Innovation, learning, keep on learning from small courses, books, literatures, in-depth interviews. They couldn't educate themselves, but the first 2-3 generations, they were learning from experience, internships. Every young man was working with their parents and uncles, and as they grew up, then they, of course, sent their kids for the best places as well. So entrepreneurship was within their blood. They believed in experience. They used to go in deep, thin razor margins, and they went into those areas where nobody would like to go. Cooperation and brotherhood was family. The whole family had one kitchen. 7 brothers married. They have the same kitchen. The role of the woman is exemplary. Together, simple lifestyles, very less spending on luxuries, and migration we have already discussed. And family is love their mother. They return to their city. They financially and emotionally. They used to come 2, 3, 4, 5 years. They're far away in those times. They used to marry within the family to keep that knowledge and that bonding together. They were amazing conflict avoiders. they used to face penalties or whatever. They didn't complain or conflict and raise conflicts. And they had their own folk stories, kahavati, which you see transcended from one generation to the other to motivate. Exemplary treated their customers and employees as like anything. And women played an important role in helping them, in supporting them, and some went into leadership roles later on. In the first three generations, we found very less. But the support was amazing. Without their support, they couldn't take care. So if you look at the other qualities of the business model, they used to pay full taxes. This is Urdu. They say full tax compliance, hard work, commitment, fulfillment of your promises, and follow the law of the land. Four moral values: never tell a lie, don't give trouble to anybody, don't deceive anybody, don't consider anybody weak. And said work like a turtle, and business ethics, and forget loss. If you have loss, then forget it, it's sunk. Paying religious charity, they said it is an insurance, and they were loyal to Pakistan. Invest in the country. Don't go and invest in real estate, networking, and then see. So this is a quick comparison of the corporate entrepreneurship and Islamic entrepreneurship model. So I will be very quickly saying and leave it for another detailed session. So in the corporate model, we believe in competition, in less resources, and pursuing our own worldly desires, pursuit of happiness. In the entrepreneurship world, the causal entrepreneurship I'm talking about, we teach a bit of collaboration, but we say that resources are less, and then again we say that we have pursuit of happiness. So still there is some sort of contribution to society, but in though that is common here, pursuit of happiness. The Islamic point of view, this is altogether different. Here is competition, some cooperation, but here it is cooperation and service. We want to serve humanity. We want to distribute wealth distribution. Resources are finite, here are infinite. So the creator is infinite and the resources are infinite. We have to use these resources in a creative way and to pursue the happiness of the creator, God. And this is a quick overview. We'll leave it for later details. Their faith. The model starts with faith, and then it talks with the entrepreneurial values, the effectual things, and effectual principles in the values, the Islamic values, humility, and love, and care, and affection, and respect, and parsimony, and then pursuit of happiness of the Creator, and to live an eternal life, and to pursue eschatological success. So this is the work of Professor Miles Davis, and we'll leaving it for another separate discussion. That from the Islamic perspective, entrepreneur is a caretaker. He's a shepherd of resources. He's not the owner, so he has to do it in a great way to serve humanity. The prophets and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him in particular, is a role model. And Quran is the source of inspiration and knowledge. And the motivation force is to please God. And the purpose of this in this world is to use entrepreneurship to serve humanity. So 4 core lessons coming from this book is that being wealthy is not a condition for an entrepreneur, it's the mindset, and you have to have good business relations are more important than profit, make alliances and spend philanthropy. So at the end, Dr. Saqib says that money making is not bad, and our religion encourages that. Making money is not bad, its spending can be good and bad. If you make money, then you can spend in good charity and help others, but if you store money and then you don't spend it in a wise way, then of course it's not that recommended. So to make money and to spend it in a way that is helpful, environmentally, ethically, and sensitive, sustainable. Thank you very much, and looking forward to see you again.